Thank you for your patience and thank you everyone for joining us today from all around the world. I am Merck from Band Protocol's Business Development and Marketing team, currently based in Japan, and I'll be the host of today's AMA session between Band Protocol and AStar Network. The goal of this current AMA is to allow the communities to learn a lot more about the upcoming partnership between Band Protocol and AStar, as well as explore what makes this partnership very interesting for both teams and users of each project. If you happen to have any questions during the AMA, you can drop them in the chat and we'll do our best to answer them. Due to the limited time, we may unfortunately not be able to answer all of these submitted questions, but fear not. You can hop over to either Band's Telegram channel or AStar's Telegram channel and we will answer the questions there. So without further ado, let's start this AMA session by introducing the speakers in today's session. From Band Protocol, we have Fun and Shine, and from AStar Network, we have Ryo. Fun is the Chief Strategy Officer at Band Protocol and has been at the forefront of devising and executing Band Protocol's strategy, especially during this turbulent market. She has a bachelor's and master's from Oxford and has pursued a career in consulting at BCG before moving on to Band. She is now fully committed to the Web3 industry. And moving on to Shine. Shine is the head of operations at Band Protocol and has been the core member behind the development of our latest VRF product. He joined Band Protocol in early 2020 and has experienced a series of challenges and success that has brought Band Protocol to where it is today. We are very happy to have him here today to share some of his experiences and thoughts on our latest product. And finally, Ro, he's from AStar Network and he's the business developer focused on ecosystem development and third-party integrations. Now that we have heard a brief introduction about our speakers today, let's hear a little bit more about them and why they decided to enter the Web3 industry. Let's start with Shine. Can you please tell us about how you got yourself into the Web3 industry?
Okay, sure. Okay, thank you for the earlier introduction. So let me tell you a bit about myself. Earlier in my career, I was a Web2 front-end developer for over 5 years before coming across the blockchains. When I started trading cryptocurrency in 2017, I guess most of you know what happened back then, right? But that's what pretty much the spark that really got me into the blockchain industry. Originally, when I joined Band, I was a senior full stack developer, but as the team grew bigger and bigger, I was lucky enough to be given the opportunity to take leading role in the project, and I am now the head of operation at Band Protocol. So yeah, that is a brief introduction of myself and how I got into the Web3 industry.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's great to hear about. How about we now hear from member of the AStar Network, Ryo? Do you mind telling us a little about how you got into the Web3?
Yep. So thank you for having me today. I was really excited to join this AMA. And to briefly introduce myself, I'm Ryo from AStar, mainly focused on ecosystem development and business development, as Merck mentioned. So going back to how I joined crypto, so it was in senior year of my high school when I first learned about crypto. So I was a senior year and I was pretty bored with what to do in university and everything. So, but I've always been interested in like really cutting edge technologies. And back then there was like AI and blockchain. And to me, AI seemed to be like a really matured industry where crypto was really just getting started back then in 2019. So that's how I got into crypto. And I first started working at Japanese Central Exchange as a first step into crypto. And I was working on mainly like business development for the Layer 1 blockchain, which was built by that exchange that I worked on for. But I was more interested in like a very global use cases and crypto native projects. And I knew about AStar since then because Sota, who is the founder of Astar, is a really famous and iconic entrepreneur, especially in crypto in Japan. So that's why I decided to join Astar, and I'm actually really surprised how global it is working at Astar right now. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. I actually joined the event as well a couple of weeks ago in Japan, A-Star's event, and I can guarantee for sure as well that they're very extremely global. The team from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now that we've heard a little bit about the two speakers today, let me explain and lay out a brief introduction or a background behind A-Star's relationship with Band Protocol, so that our viewers can have a better understanding of the work our teams have put into forming this partnership. So earlier this year, we worked with A-Star to integrate our Oracle price feed for developers on the A-Star network. And since then, we have been working closely with them to support developers on their network that requires price feed for the dApps that they are building. However, we are now excited to announce that further integrations with A-Star will take place with our newest product from Band Protocol. For those listeners tuning in from Band Protocol, in case you might not fully know or may have only heard the name Astar Network, do you mind quickly going through what Astar Network is and how the project is contributing to the growing Web3 space?
Yep. So AstarNetwork is a layer 1 smart contract blockchain, and it is connected to Polkadot as one of the parachains. And so AstarNetwork not only supports the building of smart contracts in EVM, which most layer 1 blockchain has, but also the WebAssembly WASM smart contract environment. And I would say as a parachain of Polkadot, we offer developers true interoperability with cross-consensus messaging, which is like a trustless bridge compared to like the really risky bridge that we have been recently, but a more secure way, and also not only like in terms of asset passing, but also like calling functions from other one parachain to other parachains. So we have been really focused on implementing the cross-chain functions. And also, I would say one point to highlight about A-Star is that since we are a smart contract layer 1 blockchain, we want to create a lot of innovative use cases on A-Star. And to do so, we feel that the current incentive in the layer 1 ecosystem is kind of broken, where a developer has to pay really high gas fee for some chains to deploy their own smart contracts. But for A-Star, what we do is that we distribute a part of the block rewards to the dApps, which means that the devs will be able to receive like a daily income from the day one of when they start deploying on A-Star. So that's how we incentivize the devs to build innovative use cases on A-Star. And to highlight some of the part of our ecosystem, we are backed by the top global tier 1 VCs and also central exchanges. And also we offer a wide range of developer tools such as Alchemy as a first parachain on Polkadot. So yeah, that's like a very brief introduction about Astar.
Yeah, thank you very much for efficiently summarizing what Astar Network is all about. I'm sure that would have been useful to many of our audiences who might not have been as familiar with Astar Network. What about some of the exciting future projects or roadmaps? Is there anything that you can share with our audiences? Maybe just a little tiny secret to some of your exciting projects, upcoming projects?
Yeah, I would say so. I would rather share some updates from like our network as a whole, like as a layer 1 blockchain. So as a tech side and business side, I will separate the two topics. And from the tech side, as I mentioned, A-Star supports building smart contracts both on EVM and WASM, right? So what we do is that we not only encourage devs to build both on EVM and WASM, but also over EVM on WASM. So to make this possible, we are building a so-called the cross virtual machine, which is called XVM, which allows devs to seamlessly interact between different VMs such as EVM and WASM. For example, what you can do is that you can call a WASM smart contracts from EVM environment. And I will say, like, zero account list of WASM based smart contracts VMs recently, like the Cosmos Wasm and Near. But what we have been seeing recently is that they always struggle to compete with EVM. And what we see is that we should not be rather competing with EVM, but work together with WASM to bootstrap WASM, because we feel that the current dApps on the big dApps on EVM is like a crucial piece for the crypto space. So that's why we feel like by leveraging the function of the two VMs and working closely, like, I mean, cross on EVM and WASM, and that's how we feel like the way to bootstrap WASM. And to mention about the business side, so we're really focusing on two markets recently: the Japanese market and the U.S. market. Especially on the Japanese market, because we finally listed our Acer token on Japanese Central Exchange on last September. So we did like a huge ad on Nikkei newspaper, which is one of the biggest economic newspaper in Japan, and also we are working very closely with a huge different parties in Japan, such as the governments and also big enterprises, to create a new use cases in Japan and push Japan to the next level in Web3.
Yeah, thank you for sharing some of those updates. So now for some of the A-Star fans out there who might not be fully aware of what Band Protocol is doing, can we have a quick introduction of what Band Protocol is, and how Band basically differentiates itself from other Oracle players in the space?
Okay, I can do this one. So Band Protocol is a leading Oracle solutions provider, and we provide trusted real-world data through our decentralized Oracle flagship product, which is powered by our own Band chain, which is kind of, I think we sometimes don't go through this or don't go over it, but it's quite important for smart contracts protocols who use a decentralized Oracle like us, even as opposed to developing and utilizing their own Oracle solutions, given we're decentralized. And our dedicated Band chain avoids network congestion. Most of the existing Oracle solutions are constrained by congestion, as they could be built on the same layer or the same blockchain as the application itself. Then they would compete for the block order. For us, Band chain itself is really dedicated to be an Oracle. And also building your own Oracle is quite resource intensive, both in, I would say, technical capex to build it and also to run and maintain. So on this front, there's multiple actors acting in the Band ecosystem, and we also use multiple data sources and a network of validators that we can trust to ensure this. Our current product portfolio, I would say, comprised of Band's current flagship Oracle data feeds. We mostly feed price feeds, but we can do custom feeds too. And the new one is the VRF, or verifiable random function, which Cheyenne can talk about later. I would also say some of the key differences of us and other players in the market are also interoperability. Same as A-Star, we are built based on Cosmos SDK, so we are actually compatible with Cosmos ecosystem and EVM. Our Oracle is actually available on many chains, and we also have upgraded our chain to enable the new IBC standard. Our solution is also flexible, so Band is able to integrate, like I mentioned, custom data feeds, and we also can customize each feed to serve a spectrum of use cases that our partners want, so they can determine the frequency or the interval of the price feeds that they want, as well as accepted deviation or confidence intervals that they prefer. And this could differentiate, right, for stable coins and other tokens. Stable coins may not have to be updated as often, so on and so forth. And the last point I would say is fast monitoring service. Fast service and monitoring, I'm sorry. So on top of delivering the products, we also provide integration and monitoring services all time, around the clock. Our team is always available to support our partners. And also, as just mentioned, we just launched VRF to our product suite to open up more new use cases. And let me hand over to Shine then to touch on this topic, given he led this product launch.
Okay, so for most people who are following Band Protocol, I think you guys will already be aware of our latest VRF product. We are extremely excited about this recent launch since our team has been working really hard on this project, and this launch was long overdue because of some previous concern regarding security issues and smart contract auditing. So we were reluctant to launch a product that we didn't truly believe would deliver the best experience for our users. But I am very proud of our team as we are finally able to launch Bands VIF. Um, Band VIF stands for Bands Verifiable Random Functions. A simple explanation of Band VIF is that it is a tool that developer can use to help verify randomness on the blockchain. An easier way to understand this is our VIF2 allow developer to guarantee its protocol user that randomness that happen within the blockchain is truly random. This is extremely vital once you start to consider the values of things such as NFTs. Um, the four key properties of our VIF are unpredictability, unbiased, verifiable, and a groupie, the most important, tamper-proof. Let me now quickly go through these properties one by one. Number one is unpredictability. It's quite self-explanatory. Is that it's basically ensure that no one is able to predict the outcome or predict the randomness of an event. Uh, the VIF provider is responsible for adding the extra layer of unpredictability on the blockchain. Number two is unbiased. Also quite simple is that all numbers within a range have an equal chance of being selected. Mm, our VIF is verifiable as all the results are not produced out of thin air, but all come with cryptographic proof that verify the random number which can check afterward. So this is number three. And finally, number four, our random number generation process is completely tamper-proof due to the incentive mechanism that not only correctly incentivize involved party to act faithfully, but also the wider that are choosing randomly to ensure the inability to cooperate in such merger acts. Of this key property helps to ensure the validate the quality of the random number that we have to produce. Yeah, that's all.
Oh, thank you very much. It was a slightly long introduction, but
Yeah.
hopefully all the listeners tuning in didn't find it too difficult to understand. So I wonder if you could actually share with us why Band Protocol decided to develop the VRF product, and when did you become aware of the need for this product?
Sure. Hopefully some of band OGs out there are familiar with the band builders. So band VRF ultimately serves for two purposes. First, we wanted to contribute to the development of Web3 because of this. We wanted to provide Web3 developer with high quality toolkits for Web3 development. We didn't want to just stop and providing a good tool for developer, but we also wanted to be extremely hands-on with development of Web3. So we also wanted to provide services such as consultation and guidance so the projects can work closely with our engineers. The second reason why we jump into creating bandwidth apps that we believe that's the next massive adoption of blockchain technology could come from the gaming industry. GameFi and Metaverse are extremely trendy and popular right now, right? And many Web2 developers are switching into the Web3 space with so many chains right now focus on onboarding these exciting gaming and NFT projects. Blockchain is built around integrity based on its core principle of decentralization. In-game randomness integrity is a problem that needs to be addressed. Hence, why we decided to address the issue and build Bands VRF. Simple example from MMORPG games. I think you guys have played it before. With item upgrade, root boxes, or even in-game run randomness need to be addressed in order to maintain the integrity of the games. We are here to provide verifiable randomness to those protocols that wish to enhance their integrity on the blockchains.
I see. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm sure a lot of us have played these games before. Yeah. So, hearing this, there's likely to surely be a demand from many game developers in Web3, as well as those traditional game developers in Web2 for this VRF product. I'd like to ask some of your opinions on blockchain gaming and whether you see a large wave of adoption into blockchain gaming. Let's hear this from Ryo this time. Do you mind sharing your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so I will say because I'm from Japan, like which is really all the people in Japan are really into gaming. So I'm really interested in these areas, especially. But I'll say we have seen many blockchain gaming projects like come and go during the last bull run, and a lot of this is down to the gameplays themselves, and as well as the tokenomics of the game, in my opinion. So I'll say, but it is very apparent from the traditional Web2 gaming company that it takes a lot of time for great games to be built. And as more and more people are shifting into Web3 gaming, an apparent trend that is quite clear as we can even see traditional gaming companies in Japan such as Sega and Square Enix start to explore ways to shift into Web3. In my opinion, we will definitely get better games on blockchains the next bull run. And like large banks, large gaming companies have as an issue we could call institutional inertia, or simply it is harder for larger companies to change to Web3. But I believe that with the next wave of adoption, similar to how the large banks are now moving into blockchain with their own stable coins or the central bank digital currency by the government, I will say the larger gaming companies will also move into blockchain. But but to conclude, like being from Japan, and games are embedded into the Japanese culture from day one of our lives. I'm very excited and optimistic about the blockchain gaming moving forward.
Yeah, thank you. Hmm. What about you, Fon? Can we hear some of your thoughts on blockchain gaming as well?
Yeah, I would say it echoes what Rio say. I did see a lot of games come and go. We also expect that it could drive the next adoption. I think the fundamental issue is the gameplay, or initially the games were designed from like a Web3 developer perspectives, as opposed to actual Web2 gaming producer game houses. But we're seeing more and more of those trying to pivot, which is also why we believe actually our launch for VRF is the right timing. um, I also think that even after we solve the gameplay issue, we'll need to fix how gameplay marry with tokenomics in this sense, in a sense where I think in-game asset ownership has to really be thought about. And then I think the longevity of the value of this asset is also something that people need to work on. And I feel like the use cases are competent. Yes, this has yet to emerge. But I would say we can take notes, or we're seeing some games like Illuvium already. They're building different parts of the game whereby the assets or NFT can be ported through. So, for example, you can capture the monsters in one world, and then you can port it to battle in the other world. And I'm hoping to see like this ecosystem or the foundations of the tokenomics working for multiple games, or the game ecosystem itself. It's quite exciting for me to see how it will evolve. There's also seemingly a lot of capital injection in the coming years. We've been to a few conferences, and like we've seen a lot of VCs, and the monies are coming, like I just mentioned, from VC as well as from traditional Web 2, which could be really, really interesting. Especially because like if the money is pumping in, for me, I feel like it's only time where um, we see something good or the uptake in this industry. So personally, really excited to see the evolution of this industry as more intricate or complex use cases come out of it.
Yeah, it's great to hear that both people from Band and people from AStar both have the same mentality and have the same belief in the gaming, blockchain gaming moving forward. So with Band's VRF product, how do you see it attracting game developers specifically onto the AStar network for now? We'll maybe hear from Riol first for the AStar side, and maybe Fon and Shine, you can chime in afterwards as well, both for AStar and for maybe other networks as well.
Yep. So I would say it will power the devs in AStar. Especially the GameFi devs, to create use cases with real randomness and makes the game, I'll say, more fair. Because VRS was something that we didn't have in our network previously, so that has been the blocker for many GameFi devs because of the characteristic of crypto gaming and blockchain gaming, it usually requires randomness in a fair way. And to add on top of that, connecting from the previous point, because we have a really strong positioning in Japan, we see that there is a lot of GameFi devs and especially NFT devs in the crypto market recently. So I hope that they will be able to build a more innovative use cases on AStar using the VRF product.
That's really good to hear. So I would say from Band's side, it goes back to our mission, right? So we aspire to not only be the industry-leading provider for data oracle, but to build tools that will enable developers to build more efficiently and securely in this space, and especially leveraging the technical capex around oracle that we already have vested interest in. And from working with people in the space, it's only natural that we work on or launch VRF. And I think it will help AStar, and honestly, I would say the industry in general, because it enables the element of randomness in gameplay, which I believe is essential. We also believe that this will take away parts of the building that's not related to game development, so developers can really focus on making great games, which is the fundamentals, which is what they're here to do. And we will worry about the randomness part for them.
Yeah, as you all mentioned, that AStar's a massive name. It's a very big name in Japan, and Japan has that famous gaming culture. And several weeks ago, I was actually really happy to hear the news that Yoshitaka Amano will be creating and releasing exclusive NFT collections on the AStar blockchain. And for those who don't know him, he is a legendary artist known for creating iconic artworks, most notably his Final Fantasy artwork. I'd like to know more about AStar's plan on trying to onboard these famous individuals and entities that are involved in the traditional gaming industry and are looking to, in the future, transition into Web3.
Yeah, thank you. So the NFT collection by Amano-san was something that we had been waiting for, and we're also happy to release it because in our childhood we all play games, and Final Fantasy is something that we all go through at some point. So we were really happy to release that. But in terms of getting more bigger Japanese players involved into AStar, we have actually started Astar Japan Labs, which is sort of like a community or a consortium for big Japanese players to explore new use cases through finding the partners inside the Astar Japan Labs, and also sharing the knowledge in a private group chat and also a private meetup. And in the Astar Japan Labs, we not only have a big enterprises like Microsoft or Accenture, but also traditional Japanese banks, and also even Fukuoka City, which is one of the big city in Japan, also joined Astar Japan Labs recently. So we hope to encourage building innovative use cases on A-Star by encouraging new connections inside Astar Japan Labs, but also the big gaming companies to also join Astar Japan Labs.
Yeah, that's great. Great to hear some of the initiatives that A-Star has on trying to attract different traditional institutions into coming to join the Web3. So from Band Protocol, what are some of the early projects that have onboarded with Band Protocol's VRF project? Also, what are some of the feedbacks after this VRF integration?
So since launching, I think it was a few weeks ago, we have now integrated and are available on 9 testnets of key main chains, ASTAR being the latest addition. And our engineering team are actually working around the clock to onboard a couple more. The feedback has been really great, actually, and we're weaving through the inbounds and the different use cases that have come through from different projects. It's good to note that as we just launched and some of our like this product could be new for a lot of our chain customers. It's quite important for us to have our engineers talk to the teams that want to onboard on the use case one by one on how they want it to be, the gameplay, the design, because actually we can also help in terms of optimization of the gas use if they want to leverage our VRF. So like we're working through the solutions with a few people. So all in all, I'm really, really excited to see what is to come. Yeah.
Yep. Slightly moving back to this partnership between Band and A-Star, how do you think this partnership will evolve as both Band and A-Star are working together towards developing and, in some ways, revolutionizing Web3? What are some of the further partnership works that we have down the pipeline? Lior, do you have anything to share regarding this?
Yeah, so I would say we're closely working on the VR integrations recently, but also up to this point, it was more on like collaborations in a layer 1 level, so integrating oracles into our network. But from this point, I would say it's more of like collaborating with project levels, the protocol level. So because I mean, as you can see on the current incident with the lending market and the oracles, we see that there is a high need for providing another layer of security through integrating different parties of oracles. So even for projects which haven't integrated Band, I was definitely recommend them to add Band as another source of price feed to add other layers of safety. But also in terms of the community, I would definitely want to introduce more of the potential of the oracles by Band and also the VRF products to attract more gaming developers. So yeah, I hope we can see some of your devs in our community call at someday. Yeah.
That's really good to hear. Also, I think taking the leaf of what we've been saying, what Acer is doing in Japan, we're hoping that we can also increase awareness and also even like, I would say, build more resources, get to know, build a network, a community in our home country, which is Thailand too. And also same as you, we've been working a lot with the L1, L2 chains. We also want to move forward and understand more about the requirements of the projects on those chains. So what I've been recently doing is touching base with a lot of our ecosystem. One of them is you, obviously, and to just understand and see what you guys need, or if you know if they want us to get to know the dApps that are being built on the chain, or if there's any additional support they need. We really would like to ensure that people understand the importance of using a reliable Oracle, as sadly, time and time again, we've been seeing incidents. And time again, we're trying to say that, we're here and our solution works and it's trustworthy. And now we're on like 19 chains. Yeah. So I would say strengthening the network and relationship with all of our I would say, key actors in the system. On the rear side, Shine has been a great spearhead in that front, so he can say a few words, I believe.
Yeah, so as one mentioned before about we are on nice testnet and about AStar testnet too, right? So now we already deployed the VRF smart contracts, including the bridge to Shibuya testnet, which is AStar testnet. So it's ready to have the protocol or application to test this out. I'm really excited to see the protocol in AStar using our band VRF, and let's see how this space going together.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you guys all had a lot to share regarding our partnership going forward. I'm sure that the listeners tuning in can also look forward to further announcements down the road. And I guess this is a great wrap up of today's session.